Welcome to Fearless Females, where ambition meets resilience. Meet your guide, Lorie Jones, owner of Fearless Financial Advisors. Join her and remarkable women executives as they uncover the triumphs and transformative moments shaping extraordinary careers. Ready to be fearless? Let the journey begin.
Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us again. So, I am not going to lie, I really had to think hard about this next guest. She approached me to be on the podcast, and my first initial reaction is, no way, that's not going to happen. And then I always do a pre-interview because, I just want to make sure that they're a good fit, make sure that they meet my criteria of being successful professional women. And Liz Hansen just blew me away. She had such a message of empowering women, such a message of growing women and helping them to feel good about their body and empowering them to be brave. So Liz does boudoir photography, and she is so successful at it. After meeting with her, I couldn't not tell her story. So I really hope you enjoy it. The part that I enjoyed the most, or the quote that I enjoyed the most, as I was talking with Liz, and she was talking about, she said, if I was 85 years old and sitting in an old folks' home, I'd regret not doing this. And that's what pushed me past the fear. We were talking about what she was afraid of, or what she was scared of when she first started out on this journey. And I was reading an article just recently that talked about that exact same thing. It talked about the biggest regrets of people on their deathbed. And one of the biggest regrets is not taking enough risk, not trying something that might be a little bit scary, not stepping into a little bit of your fearless power and saying, it's scary, it's big, people might have feelings about what I'm doing, but I would regret not doing it more than I regret doing it. So I really hope that you get the same message out of Liz's podcast that I did, which is that idea of strengthening and empowering women, helping them to feel good about themselves, and both body and soul and spirit. Let's get started with Liz Hansen. I am so excited today. We have got a treat. We're talking with Liz Hansen, and she is the owner of Chicago Boudoir, and we will hear a lot about what she does today, but I am so excited to have you on my show, Liz. Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a treat.
So my first question is always the same. Actually, all my questions are always the same, but sometimes I get interested and go a little deeper. But what is your favorite book?
Okay, this is sort of an unconventional choice, but it's not a novel.
Okay.
It's a book called The Joy of Less.
Okay.
And it's a book about becoming less attached to things and owning fewer things, kind of a minimalism approach. And I wouldn't say it's my favorite book because I just loved reading it, but it's my favorite book because it literally changed how I live my life. I think more intentionally about what I buy, what I have in my house. And it's just really, it really changed my whole perspective on possessions. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I recommend it to people all the time because it had such a big impact on me.
Yeah, I like that. Now, this is my problem is I don't, like possessions and stuff like that. Like I don't get a whole lot of those, but you know what? I have like so many appointments on my calendar. Does it help you like say no to some of the electronic clutter maybe, or like the calendar clutter or the time clutter? Does it help with that?
That's an interesting question. The book's not recent. Like it was written like at least 20 years ago. So it may not have been like as focused on digital clutter, but the concepts are the same. So the big premise of the book is this, like imagine you were suddenly gifted the Mona Lisa and now it is in your home. Well, what does that mean for your life? Now you have to insure this painting. You have to care for it. You have to have security. You have to deal with people wanting to come to see it, right? So, owning that Mona Lisa would actually probably like just take up your time and your energy, right? And what the author of the book is saying is everything in your life is like a tiny little Mona Lisa in in that way, in that everything you own takes up some of your time and your energy, which are your most precious resources. You have to clean things, you have to maintain things, you have to, vacuum things, and you have to put things away. So the fewer things you can own, the more you can open up your time and your energy to things that really matter for you.
Oh my gosh.
So that's kind of like the premise of the book.
Yeah. I like that. I'm definitely putting that on my list. I'm going to clutter up my home with a copy of.
Well, you know what you can do after you read it? You can give the book to someone else.
That is a great idea.
It was just such I never thought about my possessions or owning things in that way before. It just opened my mind to thinking about things in a different way that I read the book many years ago and I've reread it a couple of times, and it just sticks with me. When I'm at Target, when I'm at Walmart, when I'm online shopping, I think, do I want this item to take up a piece of my time and energy? Is that what I want? It's not just the cost of buying the thing. It's the cost of owning and maintaining the thing indefinitely. So it just really affected me in that way.
Yeah, I love it. I do. That's so cool. I'm definitely putting that one on my list. So, Liz, tell me a little bit about your journey. Like, how did you get started? Did you know what you wanted to do at age 3? Like, I am so curious as to how you got where you're at in your journey. What do you do today? And just a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I run a photo studio called the Chicago Boudoir Photography Studio. And if you've never heard the word boudoir, it's just a fancy French word that means a woman's bedroom. But what I do at the Boudoir Studio is I create a safe space for women to come and create sexy, sensual photos of themselves to feel more confident and empowered in their own skin. Mm-hmm. And no, I did not know that I wanted to do this when I was a child. I went to college and studied art history. I've always loved beautiful art. And then I actually got a master's in education and I taught English for a while. And then I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years, got married, had 2 kids. I have 2 teenage girls now, love them to pieces. And when my kids were little, I got into digital photography. So listen, I'm old enough that like my wedding was shot on film, right? Because digital photography wasn't a thing yet, right? But when my kids were little, digital photography was kind of new. I got into it and I loved taking pictures of my babies. I took some photography classes at my local community college and I started a little business doing family photography. And I did that for a few years, shot weddings, bar mitzvahs, events. And then I heard about boudoir and I decided to sign up for a boudoir photo shoot for myself. I was the person being photographed, not the photographer. And I went into this boudoir photo shoot very nervous, very inhibited, very unsure, but very curious. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that I walked out of that photo shoot ready to show up in my life in bigger and better ways. It was transformative for me. I just felt this like surge of energy and confidence from the experience. Mm-hmm. And I decided I wanted other women to have that kind of experience as well, to feel some self-love, some self-confidence. So I took a big leap and I opened up my own boudoir studio. I had no previous business experience in terms of running a brick and mortar store. I had to take out a business loan to get started. First year or so, I was not profitable. But I've now been running that studio for almost 8 years and just really loved every minute of it. I've photographed more than 2,000 women.
Oh, wow. It's so funny, Liz, because you're saying these things and I'm like, I barely like getting my picture taken with everything on. Like, how do you convince women to show the pudgier parts of their bodies or the pieces that like they don't? And it sounds like you help them feel so confident about who they are. Like tell me how that even works, how that transformation happens.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone in feeling some trepidation about doing something like a boudoir photo shoot because it's very intimate, very exposing, and also it's kind of taboo, right? For a woman to take pictures of nude or partially nude, right? And that is part of the whole point of boudoir, to step outside your comfort zone and to embrace your own unique beauty. Mm-hmm. And it's more than a photo shoot. It's like an experience in self-exploration and self-love. Every photo shoot at my studio starts with professional hair and makeup. I have a beauty team that's going to get you camera ready. Then we go over outfits and we plan what outfits you're going to wear. Could be outfits that you bring to the studio, or it could be things I have. And I'm going to curate that for you so that we get the vibe that you're looking for your photo shoot. Do you want to be soft and sweet? Do you want to be dark and sensual? Do you want to do a mix of both? Do you want to wear my 6-foot-tall ostrich feather angel wings? Do you want to just do the whole shoot with bed sheets and rose petals? Like, we can do anything you want to help you kind of connect to yourself and create some images that you like. And then something that we do during the photo shoot, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do and how to pose. You don't have to know how to do this. I'm going to use professional lighting and posing to make you look your best. And then right after your photo shoot, before you even leave the studio, I'm going to show you a slideshow of your pictures. That instant gratification is really fun, but also I want women to see their photos without a filter and without Photoshop to appreciate how gorgeous and beautiful they are just as they are.
Oh, I love
Now,
that.
of course, yeah, I'll do some Photoshop afterwards. If you have some acne or you have, a bruise on your arm you want me to take off, like, of course, I'll do that afterwards. But I want you to just see the pictures right then and there and have a moment of just appreciating yourself and your body and everything it does for you.
Oh, that's so neat. I think that is really kind of an empowering, it strikes me as just a little bit fearless to like look at yourself unfiltered and find that beauty, because most of the time I'm looking at, there's a zit there and there's a wrinkle there. And I love that you give women that experience of being able to just show up. And it sounds like it's been a really successful business, and I'm sure we'll get into this later on in the interview about like setting up the business and stuff like that. But you've managed to find something that you both love and are passionate about, and that has a return on investment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was starting my photography business, so many people were like, you can't make money doing that. Like, everyone has an iPhone. You can't make money. Who opens a photo studio? What is this, 1987 JCPenney? Like, what are you doing opening a photo studio? And I understood that. And I also believed that this was like a unique experience that people would seek out. So we live in this digital era, of course, when we're on our screens all the time. And what we crave are real human experiences, right? And I knew that the Boudoir Studio would be that for people. It would be an opportunity to go and do something, to feel something, to be present, to be embodied, right? And so, yeah, it was a little bit of a crazy idea to open up the studio, I'm not going to lie. But I just really felt that it was going to work because women were going to want this because they knew it was going to help them. They knew that they were going to feel something when they came. And so, yeah, when we first started, we didn't have any money. I'm married. My husband had a day job, fortunately. And so that was how we were able to buy groceries while I was working full time at a studio that was not making any money at first, right?
Yeah, as most of us entrepreneurs do, right?
And it wasn't even making money. I had to take out a loan to start the business. So it was basically, it was losing money every month at the beginning. But I could see when women came into the studio that they were willing to pay for this experience and purchase photos because it was transformative. This wasn't just, I need a new headshot for my work LinkedIn, right? This was different. This was a woman saying, I matter. I am beautiful just as I am. I deserve this, and I want these pictures preserved. So I built on that. I got testimonials from women who came in. I took videos of them and asking about their experience, posted them on the website. I started a Facebook group where people could interact with other local women who'd done this, get their questions answered. And slowly the business did grow and become profitable.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So tell me, Liz, what's the best investment? If you looked over your journey, what is the best investment you've made in yourself? Is there something that you can look back and you're like, oh my gosh, if I hadn't done that, I don't think I'd be successful today?
There is one thing that sticks out, which was this. When I was early on my journey of my entrepreneurship journey, when I was just starting my business, I joined and paid for like a mastermind group with a coach who specialized in helping people start businesses, and in particular, like artistic photography businesses, right? And when I joined, it was not cheap. It was expensive. And I remember I found out about it. I really wanted to do it. I went downstairs. I said to my husband, hey, I found this group, this mastermind, this coach that helps people start photo studios and grow them, but it's expensive. I don't know. It could be kind of a scam. It could be kind of a waste of money. He's like, let's put on a credit card. My husband's kind of like that. He's like, yeah, let's put on a credit card. So I put this on a credit card. We didn't have the money for it, but I knew that I needed some people to talk to about that. I needed a community. I needed some cheerleaders, and I needed someone who was like 3 steps ahead of me to be like, hey, look out for this. Cause I really didn't know what I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know what pitfalls were coming to even prepare for them. Right. So even though this mastermind group was expensive, and for me, it was a big layout of money for an investment, it paid off within like 90 days because I got so much support and data and information. Yes, there's a lot of information on the internet. Yes, you can Google stuff, but having real people synthesize it and say to me, this is what you need to work on right now first, was so valuable. And I was able to leap ahead in my business in ways that I wouldn't have been able to do if it was just by myself. So I'm grateful for that course that I took, that mastermind, those people that helped me and supported me. And a lot of times I think as women, especially, we're like, we can do it ourselves, right? But like asking for help, hiring a CPA, hiring a financial advisor, hiring a coach, joining a group, joining a mastermind, these things can make all the difference in your money journey.
Yeah. And it can make it a little bit smoother and more pleasant too, don't you think? Like you would have eventually learned all those things. Like, you know, like my clients will eventually figure it out. But if you can smooth it out and make it easier for somebody to get started, to learn the lingo, to set up their, you know, systems and stuff like that, like how great is that to skip the hard parts and go straight to the fun parts, or, you know, a little bit.
And it truly was an investment that paid off, right? I think sometimes we think, well, I can't spend that money on this. I can't hire so-and-so because the cost will be high. But in reality, it's not a spend. It's not a cost. It's an investment when you get returns.
Yeah. An investment. Yeah. I love that. Invested in you. What is the worst advice someone gave you? And did you take the advice or did you not? What did you learn from it?
Well, the worst advice I got was don't start a business.
At all? Like blanket, not like boudoir, like nothing. Don't start a business.
Well, I mean, there were just a lot of people that were like, that's really risky. Don't do it. And also like, that's kind of taboo. Like, aren't you embarrassed to start a business like this? Like, I don't know that anyone was like, never start a business ever. I don't think anyone said that to me, but a lot of people were like, just, you know, don't start a boudoir photography business. And I, you know, it was sort of hard at the beginning to tell people like, well, I'm doing it anyway, you know?
I heard what you said and I didn't listen at all.
Right. And my parents were like very weirded out. Like they're older, from kind of an older generation that does not understand at all why I would want to do this. And they were, you know, sort of hesitant about the morality of it all and things like that. But I have learned that, you know, the people who aren't paying your bills don't get to have opinions about your life, right? They're not the ones waking up and going to work. They're not the one paying the bills. They don't get to have a say.
So how did you navigate that when they're like, when you're doing it anyway, they said, I wouldn't do this. And how do you tell? I'm very curious. Like, how did you tell them? Okay, well, thank you. And did they get pissed off?
Well, to be honest, I rented the commercial space and put up a website before I told anybody. Because I knew that I was going to get negative feedback. So let me be clear. I told my husband. I didn't tell anyone else. Like, I didn't just do this like rogue, but I didn't tell any friends or family that I'd done it until after I'd signed the lease and put up the website, because I knew in my heart that there would be people who would tell me not to do it. And I didn't know, like you said, that I would necessarily have the wherewithal to kind of be like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. So when I told people, I was like, hey, I've already done the thing. I've already rented the space. Then they were like, I wouldn't do that. And I was like, I know, but I already did.
Yeah. So now be positive.
Yeah. It kind of changed the dynamic. And in the end, you know what? Some people weren't all that supportive, but it doesn't matter. They weren't the ones running the business. They were never going to be my clients anyway. You know, It's not like my dad's going to come in for a photo shoot. Right. So like, it doesn't really matter if he supports my idea or not. Right. So, but there were a lot of supportive people, right? Like, I had a lot of friends early on who like looked at my price list and gave me feedback and things like that too. So,
that's good.
While there were some detractors, I had a lot of friends who were very supportive as well.
And your husband was supportive?
He absolutely. In fact, he's the one who, I came to him and I was like, I have this idea, but I don't know. And he was like, oh, you have to. And I was like, well, but we'd have to take out a loan and I don't know if I can make it work. He's like, you have to do this. I can tell that you really want to. And now, if you don't do it now, you're just going to put it off. You're going to do this eventually. You care so much about this. You want to do this so badly. You're going to open this business eventually. So you should do it now rather than later, was his line. So, I mean, fortunately he was very supportive. And like I said, he had a day job that allowed me to lose the money. I mean, I know not everyone is so fortunate, but that's the only way I was able to, go to work every day for a year and a half and not pay myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so interesting. I love that. I love that for you. What about looking back over your journey, Liz? Is there a situation that you can think of where you're like, ooh, gosh, if I knew then what I know now, I totally would have done that differently. And how?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things. Big picture, I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years. And while there were some benefits to that, I wish I had worked part-time instead of quitting working entirely. Mm-hmm. It was really hard to get started again after being home. And I know everyone makes their own choices based on their families and stuff. But for me, I wish I had somehow figured out to at least keep my foot in the door a little bit more than I did. In terms of my business, there's been a lot of, oh man, I had a competitor who decided to tell all of her Instagram followers to write bad reviews on my site, even though they didn't know me. And I got flooded with hundreds of bad reviews in one weekend. A pipe burst in the building in the apartment above my studio, and my studio got flooded and I lost everything inside. Had to throw away my whole studio and start from scratch again. There's been some hard things like that, Mm-hmm. At the same time, like, it's just like running a business is like the journey of a life. It's the adventure of a lifetime, right? Like, you'll never learn as much, have as many highs or as many lows. And I'm grateful to be on the roller coaster, even if sometimes it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, as an entrepreneur, like, you can't explain that necessarily to everybody else, that there just is, you're never going to be happier and more proud of yourself and sadder and more discouraged than you are when you start.
The only thing I can liken it to is having a baby. Like, before you have a baby, it's going to be quote unquote hard, but you don't know in what ways it's going to be hard or how it's going to be hard, how it's going to change you, right? You just can't imagine it quite. And then the baby comes and then you just have to like grow with the baby, right? The business is the same way. Before you start, you know it's going to be hard, but you can't quite imagine what the challenges will be or how they will come at you, but then they do, and you just have to rise to the occasion. While your little baby business grows up and then becomes an annoying teenager before it kind of like gets into its more adult form.
Yeah. If you could go back and high five your past self for a great financial decision, what would that be and why?
Okay. One thing I did was I started investing in my 20s. I was really lucky to have a dad who was he was like on it, Mm-hmm. And I came home from college my freshman year. So I'm like 19 or 20, right? And I worked all summer and I made $3,000 and I was really proud of it. This back in the 90s, guys.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, you got to invest in an IRA. And I was like, what?
What is even that? An IRA? What?
Yeah. But he helped me do it. And he actually matched my contribution, which was really generous of him. And that started, my IRA, my retirement fund, that when I was 20. And that money, obviously, it's just sitting in an index fund, has grown. And if I hadn't had him tell me to do that, I would not have known. I wouldn't have done it. And I'm just grateful that he kind of showed me the way. And then every year he would call and he'd be like, all right, have you funded your IRA for this year? And some years I'd have more money than other years, but he was helping me along the way. And that, I want to give my 20-year-old self a high five for that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that answer. First of all, as a financial advisor, you just made my heart like grow 3 sizes. But I love that your dad did that for you too, and that tell me, do you feel like when you finally started being successful and making money and you had extra income, did it make it easier to invest and save because you had been doing that all along? Because that's my theory, is that it works. If you start young, you are better at it.
Absolutely. Well, and I already had the accounts and I already had the habit. And it was just like, well, how much can we front load this year? It wasn't like, oh, what are we going to do? Should we not? No, it was like, oh, I know exactly what to do. Let's load up that IRA first thing, So yeah, it's not just the habits, which are good, but it's also just having like the infrastructure already there. Like the accounts are there, it's all set up, right? And you just can make the transfers and it's no big deal.
Yeah.
I love saving. I mean, I maybe have like a little bit of an obsession, but like I really enjoy. I log into my QuickBooks every morning and I check how my business is doing. And then I log into my retirement accounts every morning just to take a look. I log into, it's like, some people weigh themselves every morning. I like to check my bank account every morning, just see how it's going, check in on it. And I love to watch my savings grow. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a game. It's a little bit of a
challenge.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge. It's not just like, oh, I meet with my financial advisor once a year. No, like I want to look at this like all the time, see how we can do better.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I think that's so great. What scared you the most when you started on your career? And does it still scare you? Did anything scare you?
When I opened my business, I was really afraid of failure in the sense that I was afraid I was going to tell everyone in the whole internet that I was starting this studio. And then if I couldn't make money in it, I was going to have to tell everyone that I was closing it. And for some reason that I was like, oh my gosh, I would be so embarrassed. But what I didn't realize is a business is open and close all the time. B, you don't owe anyone an explanation. If I did close a business, you don't even have to tell anybody. You just take your accounts down, lock the door. Like, no, you don't have to make some big announcement to the internet,
Listen, everyone, I failed, just in case you were wondering. Yeah.
No. You don't have to do that. And then see, the thing that kept me going was this. I knew that if I was like 85 years old and sitting in an old folks home, I would have regrets if I didn't start this business. There was something that was like pulling me to do this. Something, I don't want to use it like it's not like a calling in like a religious sense, but like I knew that I wanted to start this boudoir studio. I knew I wanted to work with women. I knew I wanted to provide this experience for them. And I knew if I didn't do it, that if I was old in an old folks home, I would be sitting there with regrets. Like I didn't do the one thing that I really wanted to do. So that's what kept me going over my fear of failure. I was like, because if I'm the old folks home, I'd be like, yeah, I tried it and it didn't work out, but at least I tried it. I was going to be at peace. But if I said I never tried it because I was too scared to fail, I was going to have regrets.
Yeah. So
that's what kind of pushed me over the hill of like the fear of failure. I mean, I also was really afraid of going into debt. Again, my dad, really big on saving, really big on investing. He's like allergic to debt. He's like, I'd rather you get an STD than you have credit card debt. He calls it CCD. And I'm like, okay. I mean, he's just like, never spend more than you have. That was like drilled into me. And I came from a big family. There's 6 kids. There always wasn't enough to go around. I get it. But like the idea to take out a business loan that was debt that I was going to have to repay. I mean, that felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders to have. I mean, we took out a $25,000 loan to get started. Now, is that a lot of money to start a business? I mean, to me, it was a ton of money. It was more money than I'd ever seen in my whole life. But to start a business was actually kind of small potatoes in terms of starting a business, right?
Yeah.
So I had to kind of like recalibrate. Debt can actually be leveraged to start things and to build things and to build businesses, right? It's not always like a terrible disease, right? But I had to kind of recalibrate my emotional response to debt and knowing that I was in debt and kind of being at peace with that instead of like freaking out about it all the time. Now, of course, you don't want to just go put $25,000 on your credit card at J. Crew and like blow some money. Like I get that.
Yeah, 25% interest.
Yeah, exactly. But putting $25,000 to build a business is a whole different kind of debt. And I didn't really understand that. But I like made a promise to myself, like if this business fails, I will go get a job and slowly pay down this debt. I will not just abandon it and, declare bankruptcy. Like I will take accountability for the debt. But in the end, I was able to pay it off just through running the business. But that was hard for me kind of mentally and emotionally to manage the debt.
Yeah, that's so interesting. We talk a lot in my business about the idea of money stories and like, where do your money stories come from? What things have you internalized about money and what are the stories you're telling yourself? And a lot of times that is like, the Dave Ramsey's and the whole thing is like, like all debt is bad, never have any debt. But there is that sense of, but what am I using the debt for? And can I repay it? And is it a good amount in order to start something and build something? You go into debt for a house, and I would always say that's a good use of debt because you're building for your future. And in this case, it's the same sort of thing. I love that you acknowledged that was hard for you and that was a hard money mindset to kind of change, but also that it did need to be changed and that you were investing in that future.
I mean, money stories are really an interesting and powerful thing. It's really affected me. I didn't know any business owners when I started my business. Now I'm friends with like a lot of small business owners in my area and, near my studio, and I'm boss babes that I've met on the internet. But when I started my business, I really didn't have any mentors or people that I could look to who were like, oh yeah, I went into debt for my business and here's how I did it. Like it wasn't part of my circle, And so my only money stories I had were get a 9-to-5, pay off your mortgage, save for retirement. I didn't have this you could take out some debt and start a business that you grow and become self-employed like that. That wasn't part of like an example that I'd seen. Right. And so when I started, I really did feel like I was like kind of going out on my own, doing something really risky. What I didn't understand is like you put money in the stock market, it's risky, quote unquote, right? Could I have put $25,000 in the stock market and lost it? Absolutely. But I believed in the stock market more than I believed in my own abilities, which now I'm like, no, I'm like way better than the stock market. I can turn $25,000 into more money in the stock market any day. Like now I believe in myself more than when I started, I didn't have that confidence. I didn't have that belief in myself because it's hard to be what you can't see. Right. And I didn't have a lot of examples to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I find that really interesting because that's part of the reason that Fearless Females is, what it is because I wanted women to see examples of successful women, successful entrepreneurs, successful professionals, successful people who had done it. So you can say, oh gosh, Liz did that. Maybe I'm smart too. Like maybe I could do that as well. So I love that idea of more women that you can kind of look up to and see how they've done what they've done and feel like, well, I could do that too. I bet you I could do that too.
It's so important. I mean, my money stories, even if at first when I ran the studio, I had a hard time taking money from people. They wanted to give me their credit card so they could buy photos that they loved that I'd created. And I had this oh no, I'm taking their hard-earned money from them. I really had to do some self-work around this idea that no, money is energy and money is exchange. And they want to give me money in exchange for what I've created for them. Right. But being an artist and putting a price on your art and selling it to people and then taking a credit card from them, looking them in the eye and being like, yes, that will be $1,500. And then being like, sure. And me being like, okay with that, some of this, it took some maturing and some growth to come to a better understanding about how money works and how I could play a role in bringing joy into people's lives through them spending money with me.
Yeah. And probably a little bit of work around your own worth because what you did and what you provided was of worth. It was valuable. It was important and recognizing that it had monetary value too,
Right. And I think part of that, so when I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years, you do all your labor for free. Right. And so you wake up, you take care of the kids, you make food, you clean the house, all the labor you're doing as a stay-at-home mom is basically unpaid labor. Right. And so I'd kind of really gotten used to the idea that my labor was unpaid, right? And listen, we all do unpaid labor all the time to support our families. I'm not saying it's not valuable, but to shift my mindset from, no, I don't work for free here at the studio. No, you pay me for work. It required some retooling.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I never really thought of that before. I'm gonna think on that just a little bit because I was a stay-at-home mom for 12, 13 years, something like that with 5 kids. And I never really internalized that. But yeah, I did everything for free. And so I didn't think probably it was worth. I'm like, well, they shouldn't be giving me money for this. I'm just doing it. So
yeah, I mean, the work we do at home is important work. I'm not denigrating it all, but it is like you don't get a paycheck for nursing a baby, right? And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to stay home with my kids. I love my beautiful children. I had to really change how I viewed myself and my labor when I opened a business, because when you're an entrepreneur, you cannot settle for unpaid labor. I mean, you can for a few days, and then you can't turn the lights on anymore, right? So you have to figure out how to value your own, and especially in the kind of like the field that I'm in, which is art, essentially. It's easy to say, oh, I gave you a chicken sandwich, give me $5, right? Like we know that sandwiches have, but when you're like, well, here's some art, especially when it's created digitally, it's not as tangible, right? It's harder to put a price on that. And when I'm taking a picture of you, sometimes people think, well, I'm in the picture, I own that thing, I shouldn't have to pay you for it, right? Like, to understand that since I created it, it is worth money. I can put a price tag on it. I can say this is how much it costs and you can pay me for it if you want it. That just took like a little bit of learning and figuring out.
did you face any unique challenges in this journey because you were a woman?
Yes, and I have some unique legs up, if I can use that metaphor.
Yeah.
So
do both.
I mean, I am a boudoir photographer that specializes in taking pictures of women in lingerie and nude. Do they want to come to a female photographer? Most women do. So I have a 100% female staff, right? So everyone you meet at my studio, everyone who works for my business is a woman. Mm-hmm. And that gives a lot of women peace of mind. And so that's a big benefit that I'm a woman, right? If I were a man, I don't think I could succeed as well. I mean, there are some male boudoir photographers and they create beautiful art, but being a woman in this field, I think is a benefit.
Yeah, I see that.
And also sometimes I go to things like, I don't know, Chamber of Commerce things or business things, and I don't feel like I'm always super taken seriously because I'm female and also because I run this kind of naughty business, right? And so I think sometimes I'm not taken seriously for those reasons. When I'm running a legitimate business, I'm profitable, I've been in business almost 8 years, like I deserve a seat at this table. But I think sometimes I'm not always invited because they're like, oh, she takes naked photos. Like, I don't know if we want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, you know? I mean, I have gotten kicked off of like credit card processing platforms and Google ads and stuff for being too naughty, right? Because I get put into the category of adult entertainment or adult businesses. I'm not really. I mean, my pictures are honestly pretty conservative, but I'm viewed in those categories in some circles.
Huh.
And I sometimes wonder if I was a man running a taboo business, if I would be taken more seriously.
Huh.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's not something that I thought about before, but that you probably do have to deal with some of those things. Huh.
Oh, every day I try to ease into it. I'll be like, okay, so I am a photographer. Start there. I take glamour portraits. Women come and get their hair and makeup done. Yes. Okay. You're cool with that. Okay. Now ease into what I do here. Yeah. And when I started my business, we had kind of to rearrange the workload at home too, because I had been a stay-at-home mom for so long that when I opened my business full time, I was suddenly gone all the time. There was a lot of that unpaid labor that I was doing that someone still had to do. And so we made some changes. We hired someone to come clean our house, which we'd never done before. And was it expensive? Yes. But did it free us all up to do the work we really wanted to do? Yes. Like, I wanted to be at the boudoir studio growing my business. I didn't want to be at home mopping the floors. So hiring someone to clean the house allowed me to do some more of that stuff. Yeah. My husband took on some more of the cooking that he hadn't done before, things like that. So I feel like when men start a business or when men go back to, when they go to work all day, no one's like, oh, who's at home mopping? They're just like, oh, he doesn't worry about it. Who's cooking? Oh, whatever. Someone's taking care of it, right? But as a woman, when I start a business, everyone's like, oh my gosh, who's with your kids? Who's taking care of that? Like, how can this possibly work? You get all those questions and kind of a little bit of doubt that you can do both. Whereas men don't receive that same kind of criticism.
Yeah.
I have never been asked, who watches your kids while you're at work? But I get asked that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And it is something that we deal with. And especially professionally successful women as we, go out and have those successes professionally. I have had several women say that, they'll ask me who's taking care of your kids while you're on this business trip, who's doing this while you're growing a business, who's doing these things, as if that's our job. where it isn't, it's a partnership. But yeah, we get asked, or men don't.
Yeah, I was recently interviewed on NPR, National Public Radio, and I talked to them for about 90 minutes. And then they cut the interview. You know how they do on the radio? They cut it down to about 3 minutes. And the 3 minutes that they cut down, I love the interview. It's fine. But it's interesting to me that the 3 minutes that they chose out of the 90 minutes that they talked to me about my business was where they asked me about child rearing and balancing family and home as a business owner. Of all the things that I could have talked about, that's what they chose to cut for the clip. So that's like an interesting example. I'm not sure that a male business owner would have got that same cut.
Mm-hmm. What is the thing, Liz, that you are most proud of?
Big picture, I'm most proud of my 2 girls. They are 2 teenage girls. They are the love of my life. They are fabulous. Sorry, my husband's also the love of my life. But I love my baby girls. But beyond that, I am proud to have created a business that empowers women. I really believe, I know it's taboo and I know it's a little naughty and I know nudity carries all these meanings, but I have been told so many times by women who come in the studio how this experience changed them, how it bolstered them, how it let them feel healed after their breast cancer surgery, how it let them feel freedom after their divorce, how it let them celebrate finally getting pregnant with their first baby after 7 rounds of IVF, how it helped them, embrace their 50s with grace instead of hating turning 50. All of these things that women deserve to be celebrated. And I just feel like it's been an honor to be a part of each of their stories.
Oh, that's so neat. I think that's really neat when you talk about women empowering and feeling good about ourselves and our bodies just for who we are. That really strikes a chord with me. I appreciate so much, Liz, you coming on and kind of sharing your journey and sharing your story. If I have a woman, if we have someone who is just starting down this path, a young lady who's just kind of starting down this path that you're already pretty successful at, what advice would you give her? Well, even what advice would you give your own daughters if they chose to go this way?
I would say start the business. There is so much. There's some benefits to a 9-to-5, right? Maybe you have insurance and maybe you have some stability, but man, starting a business, the financial opportunities when you start a business are so much greater than a salary for the most part, because you can grow on your own terms. You wake up, you want to work harder and you want to have some more revenue, you got it. You don't have to go beg a boss for a raise, right? Mm-hmm. So I wish and hope for more young women growing up to start businesses. Not only can it give you a lot of money, but it can also give you that freedom that you're craving to have time with your children and time at work, right? Because when you're your own boss, you can make some more decisions about your schedule. So I wish I'd had more people say to me, do it, open the business, so that I'm going to say that to you now. Do it, go for it, give it a shot. You're smart enough. You don't have to have a PhD to start a business. People have been running businesses since ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, right? Where they were selling whatever, right? Owning a business is achievable for you. It requires, figuring some stuff out. It's a lot of hard work, but it is going to be just so much more fun and thrilling and engaging and fulfilling. I already said that word, but just all the things to me than a 9-to-5 office job. 9-to-5 office jobs can be fine too, but if you really want that job that you just feel like fills up your soul, a business is just going to be more likely to do that for you, in my opinion. Yeah. So go for it.
Well, thank you so much for your time. If I have a young lady who wants to get in touch with you and ask questions, how does she do that?
The best place to go is my website, chicagoboudoir.com. Boudoir is a tricky word to spell, BOUDOIR.com. Now, obviously, my studio is here in the Chicago area. And if you're listening, you're not in the Chicago area, still love to connect because I've got a lot of free resources that you can download from my site. So go to my website, go to the free stuff. I've got an ebook on confidence and body self-love, and I've got a quiz you can take and all kinds of things. So don't be shy. I'd love to see you over there.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time today, Liz. I've really appreciated it.
Thank you, Lorie. This was great.